everything working? We're online now, amazing. Okay, hi again, everyone. Hi, my name is Charlotte Hook. I'm the events manager here at Factory Berlin. We are back a little bit in person. We have a couple members in the audience today, and we also have audience online, so thank you for joining us if you are online. So for the people online, if this is your first time interacting with Factory Berlin, I just want to share a little bit about us. So we are a diverse community of over 3,000 curators, creators, and innovators. We bring together people from the tech scene, from the creative scene. We bring together startups, corporates, individual members, artists, all under one roof. And we curate a membership of people who are the most creative, entrepreneurial, people who are open to new ideas, who empower each other's work, and who are extremely ambitious. And we support them in a couple of different ways. So we support them with our events program, so events like this, and a couple other programming methods, which I'll mention in a second. We support them with a digital network, which allows them to connect online. And we also have spaces in Factory, we have spaces in Mitte, and we have spaces in Kreuzberg. So just a little bit about this particular event, which I think is a great example of all of these elements coming together. So On the Red Couch is hosted in collaboration with Beats by Dre, which is one of our partners, and they connect us to the creative community in and outside of Berlin. This event is paying homage to the original Factory, Andy Warhol's Factory. So in the 1960s, Billy Neame brought a red couch into the factory, and he invited artists to come and stay the night, share their wisdom, and so on. And so we've brought that tradition here. And we use it as a chance to bring creatives here to talk to our community and to share their amazing ideas and projects. And with this particular event, with the help of Beats, we've got an international guest on the couch. We have Jen Stark joining us from LA. So Jen is well known for executing across many mediums, and she's stunned the world with her complex kinetic designs. She's realized exhibitions globally, everywhere from the Smithsonian to MoCA, Miami, and today she's in conversation with Tabitha Swanson. Tabitha is a designer and creative technologist using 3D rendering. She's also one of our former artists and one graduated artists in residence. And Artists in Residence is our program which is supporting artists who are creating work that is inquiring on topics in the intersection of tech and society. And we've just started our second residency, also powered by Beats by Dre, in September. So this is a lot of things coming together tonight. We're super excited to have you. It will be 45 minutes of conversation with Tabitha, 15 minutes of question from the in-person audience. Just a quick housekeeping in this strange time. So we'll have a microphone in the center for you guys to ask questions. When you stand and ask your questions, please wear your mask. And that's everything. So with that, Tabitha, take it away.
Cool. Yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Are we going to? Hi. So yeah, as Charlotte mentioned, this is Jen. I'm super excited to have you here. We're really excited to learn more about your progression as an artist. And yeah, so Charlotte gave a bit of a intro to you and your work, but maybe if you have a few words you want to say, or maybe giving us a background of where you started from, where you are now, and then we can launch into some questions.
Sure, I'd love to. Thank you all for having me. I'm excited for the talk. So yeah, I started my artistic career. I think it was pretty much my grandpa who brought out the desire to, be an artist and create art in me. He was an artist as well, a hobby artist that would do watercolors and paint natural scenes. So I owe it a lot to him, and also my parents for helping foster that and put me in art classes and stuff. So that's sort of where it started. They just saw a little talent and spark in me that I loved creating artwork, and just started developing it. And yeah, I went to art school. I actually studied abroad in Aix-en-Provence when I was a junior in college, through MICA. That was the college I went to. And yeah, I lived in Aix-en-Provence for like 6 months, and that really helped push me to kind of my trajectory. I started working with paper there. I do a lot of like paper sculptures and different designs that are based off of nature and math and sacred geometry. So a lot of patterning. So that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah, cool. And being from Miami and then now living in LA with a lot of the colors and stuff like that, do you think that that's a big inspiration for you?
I do. I definitely do. Miami, I didn't realize how different it was until I left to go to college, or, left to see the rest of the US. But yeah, there's so many, South American, Central American cultures. It's very colorful, like the cultures and also the flora, the plants. It's so lush there, and it just made me become a plant lover and like look at all the designs like in ferns, see all the fractals and the weird mathematical designs in all of the plants. So I definitely think Miami had a big influence on my artwork.
Totally. So yeah, as Charlotte mentioned, we do have a artist in residency program here. Last year I was a part of it. It was really great. But it allows people to kind of come together, really foster community, and also inspire each other. And so maybe a question there is, how do you connect with your community, and are you part of any collectives? Where are you at with that stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, lately it's mainly virtual, but before, when I was in Miami, we community was, and here as well, but in Miami, community was a very big part of like, trying to come up in the art world, and we all kind of helped each other. And a big group of artists, I think like maybe 10 to 20 of us in Miami, we made like a mass exodus to LA, kind of all together as this, art community to further our careers in LA. And I think that was really important, to have each other's support and be able to, do collaborations with each other and have like drawing parties together. But yeah, community it's definitely a huge part of, career success and like happiness. And I'm not currently part of any collectives that I can think of, but I do, get together with my artist friends and talk about ideas and, do little collaborations here and there. So
Totally. Yeah, super important to have that exchange. And it's really nice that you had kind of a group of people to come down to LA with as well. Nice. So then maybe kind of going from there, what are some ways that you've connected to the art world to push your career forward a little bit? Because I think that's a question that so many younger artists have, also including myself, kind of looking at you and where you've come from and where you are now and kind of the trajectory that's happened there. Yeah, what are some maybe methods or things that have really worked for you?
In the beginning of my career, I would definitely, even if I didn't want to go out to openings, I would just kind of force myself to like make myself visibly known, meet people, just try to like get out there and meet as many people as you can. And then you can foster those relationships. And, people usually like to put a face with the artwork or a face with the name. So it's really important to meet people, and also seeing people face to face, you come up with other ideas and really start talking about doing things. So I think it's important to physically get out there, although COVID is making it hard for that. But I guess virtually now. yeah, just put yourself out there and try to meet as many people as you can.
Totally. What are maybe some of the most difficult parts of that? Like maybe biggest learning lessons or things that you had to struggle to kind of move forward with meeting people and stuff like that. Like, yeah, a bit of an open question.
Yeah, I guess in a small way, like not kind of like, some days you don't want to go to work, but
Yeah.
I would always, even if I didn't want to go out and socialize, and I think that was a big part of like me being in the art community, just going to the different art galleries. Like I didn't necessarily want to every time, but I always gained something from it and met new people, and yeah.
Totally. Cool. So then once you connected to these opportunities and met more people in the art industry and stuff like that, I think another question, especially for artists, for it to be sustainable is monetizing it or being able to kind of work on these connections and kind of create these opportunities for yourself or know how to follow up on them. Do you have any advice for artists with that stuff?
Yeah, I would say for the artist to just, figure out exactly what it is you want to do, what gives you passion doing it, and just keep pushing that. And then eventually people will take notice and they'll see it, and your name will pass from person to person or through Instagram or whatever. And then usually when I do like art shows or like commercial type work, it's typically by invitation. So they'll reach out to me and be like, "Oh, we have this great project we think you would be great for." And it's usually by invitation, but then once you foster those relationships, it's a little bit easier to, you have a relationship, you can propose things. But in the beginning, I would say just kind of push your own work on whatever platform you can, so that people see it, they see what you can do, and then they'll either come to you with ideas, or if they don't, just keep creating your own.
Totally. How long would you say that it took you to, because you have such a recognizable style, and like when anyone sees your artwork or when I was doing research on you, I could really see, even though they were different and different mediums and stuff like that, it's very much you. And how long would you say that it took you to really hone in on that?
I would say the start of it was in 2004 when I studied abroad in France. I started working with paper there because it was a really affordable material, and I learned that I really love to do like intricate patterns and shapes and like nature mandalas. So it kind of started there. So that's 16 years or something.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Time flies.
And then just kept developing it from there.
Awesome. Yeah, and then so maybe touching on that and like COVID, which we've kind of mentioned previously. Obviously, 2020 has been an unexpected and really interesting sort of year. I know that a lot of your most well-known work or some of the work that's experienced very much in person, it's in galleries and people often have to go there. Do you have any kind of pivots that you're looking forward to moving forward? And then maybe a follow-up question to that would be, with virtual reality or augmented reality or things that could allow, for exploration of a new medium while still using your style. Are there any of those coming up in the future for you?
Yeah. So 2020, yeah, it's been wild for the whole world, and pretty rough for a lot of people. So in the beginning of it kind of everything in like the near future kind of froze.
Yeah.
And I was, trying to figure out because I had like murals planned and other stuff. So a lot of that stuff got either canceled or just postponed for later. So I kind of just took probably the first month or so in quarantine, just like cooking and trying not to go crazy. But yeah, it's definitely made it a different environment to see artwork. And luckily in LA, there's still galleries that are open. You have to do a reservation for it, but yeah, it's not the same. So it's changed in that way. It's gone more like on the screen, you know, Instagram or just on the computer. So yeah, it's definitely affected the trajectory of my work and the plans in the future. And then the VR experiences, I would love to delve more into that. I've done a little bit of AR for my solo show last year in New York at Joshua Liner Gallery. We did kind of like, it's called Lightform. So it was a kind of like animation that was projected on one of the paintings. So it was, you know, dipping into the AR world a little bit. But I would love to do that more since we're all kind of stuck inside. We're just, you know, it would be awesome to
Interacting through screens.
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe like an Instagram filter or something.
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe then kind of taking a pivot from that topic. So I saw that you were included recently in a book of women in art. I think this is maybe a really interesting topic, especially for a lot of the people who are in the artist residency program, maybe people watching this as well. As a femme in art, how do you advocate for yourself or with, you know, different kind of power dynamics or societal conditioning, stuff like that? Is there anything that you had to learn that maybe may have been particular to that circumstance?
Yeah, I mean, as a woman artist or just a woman in society, I think a lot of people tend to doubt you or not. They don't think you know what you're doing, especially with like when I'm painting big murals, I'll be driving a lift, like a big boom lift or a scissor lift, and I'm licensed to drive those, but people will walk by, especially men, and be like, "Do you need help with that?" Or, you know, like that kind of stuff. I'm like, "I'm good, I got this." So a lot of people just, you know, kind of doubting my ability to do things, but I'm pretty stubborn, so I try not to listen to that. I try to just keep pushing forward no matter what people say or think or do, and try to even change their minds about their doubt of me. But yeah, just like have full confidence, go for it. Don't let those type of people, you know, take you off balance.
Tell me a little bit more about getting your license for this big lift. I'm curious.
So yeah, I've driven lifts since like probably 2005. I started with scissor lifts, the ones that just go up and down. And then eventually, you know, you have to do a mural bigger than 25 feet. So you have to get the boom lifts, which is like, you know, a joystick, and it has like all these different parts to it.
Whoa.
That kind of telescope, and those can reach, I think, like 60 plus feet, maybe 65 feet. So yeah, I did a few of them not licensed, but then, you know, I did a pretty big legit one, and they're like, okay, we have to license you for OSHA. It's like the, you know, the US standard of, you know, whatever. So the guy from the boom company, he came and he just taught us how to do it, and we had to take like a little test, and me and all my assistants got licensed. So cool. That was really nice.
Yeah.
Even though we already knew how to drive it.
Yeah. Do you ever get, you know, because of course you kind of came from paper and then you progressed into making these huge murals. When you're up at 65 feet, is that Is that scary? Or do you not have a fear of heights or anything like that? Because I think for me, I would be a little freaked out.
I don't really have a fear of heights. When the wind picks up though, and you're kind of like bouncing in the basket, then it's like a little bit scary, but I'm pretty good with heights, so luckily
Okay.
it's not a big deal.
Part of the job, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe the next question would then be about imposter syndrome. So in 2015, in an article for My Modern Met, you mentioned that your career really took off with the Miley Cyrus video and MTV. And I was wondering if when that shift happened, did you feel any sort of imposter syndrome? Did you feel any sort of like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening? Was it all excitement, or was there any sort of, kind of self-doubt or anything like that?
I don't think I felt that. I was mostly, it was a very surreal experience, and I enjoyed the whole ride of it. But I feel like my career had been like, a nice steady trajectory where I was like, okay, I'm confident in my artwork, and I know what I'm doing. So I feel like when I got to that point, it was definitely surreal, like meeting Miley Cyrus and, having my artwork in front of like the eyes of millions of people on TV.
Yeah.
But I didn't doubt myself, and yeah, it was a fun experience. And Miley, she liked my artwork so much that she helped push my artwork even more. Cool. It was only supposed to be used for like animations during the commercials, and she helped push it so that I did some stage design. I had animations on the main screen when she came out, and we made like a physical slide wormhole, like a rainbow wormhole that was like 20 feet tall that she slid out of in the beginning of the show.
Did you get to slide down it as well?
I didn't, actually. But I got to see them making it, and I went to the factory the fabrication place where they were making it, and that was really cool to see the process.
Nice. What materials was that made out of?
I think it was like fiberglass and metal.
Cool.
A fabrication place made it, so I don't know all the details of it.
Sure. Nice. I mean, to have someone advocating for you, especially like Miley Cyrus, I'm sure that must feel amazing, and really nice of her as well to just be like pushing you in your art. I guess kind of on that topic then as well, earlier this year in February, you had a collaboration with Beats and with Pharrell. And yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about that, kind of maybe the inspiration behind it, as well as what it was like, kind of proposing ideas for it.
Yeah, that project was really fun. So it was for Pharrell's new headphones that were coming out with Beats, and there were a few different colorways. So Pharrell, I had a few phone calls with him, which was awesome. He's very zen, and like he knows what he wants, and he's a really awesome guy. So he and the Beats crew, they kind of gave me a lot of artistic freedom, which was really cool. So we decided to do a few animations that would kind of like create these otherworldly portal environments that were kind of like sparkling and hypnotizing to like highlight the headphones. And that was collaboration with Lucy Hardcastle Studio. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm really happy with how everything came out, and yeah, it was kind of a dream project. So happy to have been involved.
Nice. And then I guess next question would be, what's in the future for you? So you've just had this project earlier this year with Beats. And Pharrell, you know, I can feel that it was exciting and like you said, it was a dream project. What's next? What are your next dreams? Like, what are things you want to do in the future?
I definitely love to do more public art. So like some murals, public sculptures. I'm planning to also have a solo show with Wild and Cran Gallery in LA.
Cool.
So that'll be 2021. And in the near future, a couple public art things happening, mural, an installation, and as well as a couple like limited edition drops. So I just made a couple limited edition t-shirts that will be
Can
really...
we see a little bit more of this t-shirt, this limited edition one? Nice.
So we actually hand tie-dyed these in my studio, so they're really hands-on. We made 50 of each design, and yeah, we'll be releasing those in the next couple of weeks, I think early November.
Cool.
And then I'm planning to do an edition with Avant Art. It's like a sculpture edition of one of my like kind of mathematical pedestals. So that'll be fun. That'll come out in the next month.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, just still trying to keep grinding and keep the momentum going, even though COVID is happening.
Yeah. I saw that last year in 2019, you were doing a residency with a glass studio in LA. What was that like? How was it working with glass? Had you worked with glass before, or was it an entirely new medium for you?
Yeah, the glass residency, it was at Bullseye Glass Studio in Pasadena, and that was so cool. I had never worked with glass before, but I'd been having this urge to like start doing glass work, and I got the residency there, so they gave me kind of almost all access to the studio, and it's a lot of it's not the blowing kind of glass, it's more flat in kilns, and the glass melts and you can do like textures and you can fuse things together. Cool. And I learned a lot about, you know, like chemistry and metals and colors, and things react different ways with heat. It's almost like, it's kind of similar to ceramics and glazes, but with glass. So that was really cool, and I'm definitely planning to do more glass stuff. I keep applying to public art things, hoping that, you know, one day I'll get a big glass window somewhere in a public space.
Yeah, very cool.
So we'll see.
Cool. I'm curious about some of the pieces behind you. Yeah, maybe you can tell us a bit about those.
Yeah, oh, here we go. It's backwards mirror.
Opposite way.
These are usually for paintings, especially when I'm doing like rainbow gradients and stuff. We just pre-mix all the colors. So this is just like figuring out the colors, like exactly what order, and and then we can like fill in kind of like paint by number for the painting, so it's a little bit easier. So yeah, pre-mixed colors. This is, I think it's Ernest Haeckel. He was, you know, a couple hundred years ago, he did like botanical drawings, like scientific, really beautiful. And a lot of them are not, they're based in reality, but he like morphs them a little bit, so they're not like exact nature drawings, but they're really beautiful. And then this was a friend, I think she's 6 years old, Cezanne. She drew this. This is one of my quarantine coloring books. So at the beginning of quarantine, I released a PDF of a bunch of my line drawings, and people were able to print them out and, you know, color them at the beginning of COVID because everybody was stuck in their house and didn't know what to do. And then this was a print that I created in 2015. Yeah. Limited edition print. And that is a line drawing for another Oh, backwards.
Uh-huh.
Another drawing.
Yeah.
Just like this one's crazy because it kind of makes your eyes vibrate when you look at it in person.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
really
mean, even
into
here,
that,
I
like,
feel like I'm being sucked in a little bit.
yep, there you
Yeah,
go. Like
yeah.
optical illusion and color theory, making your eyes vibrate.
Totally. Something I really like about your paper pieces, like the ones you see in person, is that at every angle it looks different, you know, and it does also have that very similar effect of like the depth to it and the different layers. Yeah, it's quite fun.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love kind of the beginning of the paper sculptures was me being influenced by evolution and seeing like kind of treating each page as a generation
Mhm.
and seeing like how the generations affected each other and how things evolved. And that was kind of like the beginning ideas of my like morphing paper sculptures.
Cool. So with that, then, would you say that even though I'm sure that you have some sort of rough idea of them before you put them together, would you say that they kind of make themselves as well? Like through you, kind of?
Yeah, definitely. Especially the paper sculptures. I usually sketch out like a rough sketch of what I want it to look like, and then it's all just freehand cut. So they definitely take on a little life of their own through my hand.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, it's all like organic and kind of just comes out.
Nice. I think with that, then we can maybe start asking some audience questions.
We'll just put the mic on. Yeah, just you can come to the mic and ask a question. There we go, mic's on.
Hi. First of all, thank you for your time, and I really love your work. I basically just have two questions. Have you ever had a creative blockade and your kind of self-doubt towards your work, and how did you deal with it?
Definitely, that's a great question. Um, I definitely go through creative blocks, and especially like at the beginning of COVID, not knowing what's happening. And when that happens, I try not to force it. And I take lots of breaks, like I'll walk or I'll exercise or I'll do something else that kind of takes my mind off it and brings more inspiration into my world. But um, I work hard in the studio, but I also, if I'm blocked, I know to take a step back. And I like to think of, I forget his name, but it was someone that discovered volume. And he was like working really hard, trying to figure this thing out, this equation. And he decided to take a bath. So the bathtub was filled. He laid in the bathtub and the water started displacing. And then he was like, oh my God, volume. And he discovered it that way just by relaxing and taking a break. So yeah, I think breaks are really important and not burning yourself out.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Good question.
Hi, Jen. Thank you for joining today. It's very inspiring. My question is, knowing the size of your art, it's obvious that you get extra hands and extra help. So how do you go about it? How do you build the trust with people who are going to work on your projects?
Yes, good question. The trust thing is a big deal. I have a hard time completely letting go of my work and letting it go, letting help come to me. But I have a good set of assistants. I have a main assistant who's amazing. She's like very steady with her painting. We've never dropped anything before. she's just like a solid assistant that I can really rely on her. So she's my main full time, and then yeah, I have other assistants who are awesome, and they'll come help with the murals and stuff. And yeah, I try to keep, everything tight and exactly how I want it. But not be too crazy about details. And yeah, with the bigger stuff, I usually create the computer file, and then I get it cut out through like a CNC router or a laser cutter. So those companies will print it for me, and then we'll take it back to the studio, and I'll work on it with my assistant.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi there. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the influence of maths in your work, for example, fractals and infinity.
Yeah. So I have always, been fascinated by math. I was never very good at it in school. Although I think I was okay at geometry, but I just love the fact that math is in all these designs in nature, and fractals, and how it's such a mystery too. Like people don't really understand how things are connected, and like I see designs like the Milky Way connects with like tornadoes, which connects with, it's just like these macro designs are kind of prevalent in nature through like the macro or the micro. So I love thinking about that. Like there has to be mathematical equations that connect them all. And I also think it has to do a little bit with the spiritual world or the afterlife or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm just very fascinated by it and trying to use it in my own work.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for the talk. It was very inspiring. And about the works you did with like these big brands like Dree and Pearl, like some people think that like this could be almost like an apex on their career. And like we've talked about a bit of imposter syndrome, but I also look at this like in the other side. When I win like a competition or something, I get so pumped like, oh, my work is actually good. I can like, they recognize it. How is it like when these people come to you? Like, what is the feeling? And does this like pump you to like, I don't know, explore even more your art, or how is this relationship when you get to these like big gigs and this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing feeling having people, be inspired by my work, or even it brings them joy to their life or makes them happy. So it's incredible. It's surreal. And it does help me. It kind of just keeps pushing me forward to outdo myself and do bigger and better, and try to even think of ways to make my artwork, help the world in some strange way. Like I'd love to start doing more with renewable energy and stuff like that. So yeah, it's an incredible feeling when people come to me inspired by my work, and hopefully I can just keep inspiring others and pushing it to the next level.
Nice, thank you.
I have maybe, oh, you have a question? Yeah.
I do, actually. I have a question from someone online. So you have, as was just said, worked on a lot of big projects with big partners. How do you draw the line between collaborating and then creating your own vision? Where do you see the boundaries of that?
Mm-hmm. I definitely pick and choose my collaborations. So I I don't say yes to everything that comes to me. I'll figure out, if it's like a company, like a commercial company, I'll decide like, do I like this company? Do I like their vision? Do I like what they're doing? And does it align with my own artwork? And if it does and it feels like a good fit, I'll do a collaboration with them. But if I have any hesitation at all, I usually say no, because I usually end up regretting it if I do that. So yeah, I pick and choose. I also, especially with like contracts and stuff, I try to tell other artists, get a lawyer to read the contract. A lot of artists don't read, the fine print, and sometimes it's like a work for hire, which means you're giving them the rights to your work. So yeah, I would say, once you find those companies, definitely get a lawyer that's on your side to go over all the legal stuff, so you don't accidentally sign your artwork away.
Thank you.
I was wondering, maybe a couple other questions. If you have, so working with agents, I know from your website that you have people in LA and New York for getting in contact with your artwork. But for art agents, like, what is your experience with that?
So I have like a agent / lawyer that I work with a lot, and yeah, usually people, as an artist, I'll have companies or people reach out to me, and then I filter it through my lawyer agent, and we'll figure out if it's a right fit, and if it isn't, we'll just pass on it. But I think also it's important to have one of those people on your side to make yourself, look more legit. And in some circumstances, I'll get like, way more compensation just because I have like a lawyer on my side helping me out. But yeah, the agent, I think they definitely come in very handy for me. So I wouldn't be able to do it without them, because I'm okay at reading contracts, but I do not know that world at all. So
Yeah, I'm sure it's nice to be able to concentrate on the art more fully as well.
definitely, yeah, they take, the boring legal financial stuff and kind of figure that out so I can concentrate on what I do.
Very cool. Have you ever explored using machine learning in your art? Because, for example, with like some of the fractal stuff or other things like, or using GANs, for example, which are using like visuals and outputting other visuals, is that something you've thought about employing or thought about doing a collaboration with or anything?
I actually haven't. I'm very analog. I love doing things by hand, with my hands. I've worked a little bit with like computers, like CNC routing or laser, but I know that's not the same as like AI or algorithms. I think that it could be a really cool thing to explore, especially with my artwork. The like nature mathematical equation part of it. I think that would be really cool, but I haven't explored it yet.
Yeah, maybe in the future. And then maybe final question for me is kind of art trends in general. So of course you've talked about kind of your next steps and stuff that you'd like to do, but maybe taking a step back and looking at the art world, what are things and trends that you see coming up, things that you're aware of or things that you're curious about to see where they develop?
Mm-hmm. I definitely I feel like COVID has definitely helped transform the environment of art trends, but I see, people doing a lot more on-screen type stuff or like virtual, like all the art fairs are in virtual spaces now that you can still walk through the art fair and see the art on the walls, but it's all virtual. So yeah, I would say that I can see that sort of taking off, and artists trying to figure out ways to get their artwork out there virtually, since in person is not really happening right now. Yeah, those sort of things.
Cool. And is there anything that you want to share with us kind of in this last little bit, or like any shows you want to plug, I know you talked about your merch drops coming up, but anything we should be keeping our eye out for?
Yeah, definitely if you're in LA next year, I'm doing that solo show, so that'll be awesome. Yeah, I guess just keep your eye on my social media, because I'll be kind of dropping things there and letting people know what's happening. That's the best way to get in touch or figure out what's happening next. But yeah, just keeping grinding and keeping it going.
Nice. Well, I think that that's a good final bit to end on. Thank you so much for joining us today, and for sharing and imparting a lot of your experience and wisdom, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing what you're up to next.
Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for listening and for inviting me here. It was really fun.
Cool.
Thank you to Tabitha as well. Thank you, Tabitha. Thank you, Jen, for joining us today. Thank you for our in-person audience for providing your questions and bringing your energy to the room. I know it's a really different environment to have events, but it's great that we're back and we can do this again. You can check out more events on our website at factoryberlin.com. Please, there's lots of things that are going to come up soon, and hopefully some more stuff which is geared towards creatives. So thank you so much, Jen, and thank you, Tabitha. Good night, everyone.
Good night.